I need to make one correction from what I said at the end of the presentation last period.
Prošlog časa sam nešto rekao što bih sada želeo da korigujem, znači da popravimo
It
nešto.
was very clear in my mind that this was the first position, but I couldn't remember the details here. So
Nisam se prisjetio odmah detalja, ali evo sada.
2300 days
2300 dana i noći,
and or years, I should say,
ili godina,
and every 19 years the cycle goes back to exactly the same again.
svake 19. godine ciklus se vraća na isto.
So you have to divide 19 into 2300.
Ako podelimo 2300 sa 19,
And that doesn't come out even. There's one left over.
ali nije, even je paran, nije paran, dakle ima jedan neparan.
In 457, the calendar was in the early position.
457. kalendar je bio na ranoj poziciji, to je ono za dan pomirenja.
So if there's one left over, you have to go back this way, which is back to the third position, or back here.
Ako je jedan preostao, jedna godina preostala, onda je prethodna u trećoj poziciji, to jest 1944. Ste razumeli ovo?
If you'd like to read the details on this, it's in the final chapter of Shea's book, Selected Studies.
They haven't understood, I have to repeat.
Yeah.
Ok, dakle, parne godine su 2300, kad podelite sa 19, dobijate jedan ciklus koji su, parne godine su uključene. Znači 456. bi bilo u trećoj poziciji Jom Kipura, i onda kad dođete do parne 1864. onda je u trećoj poziciji, a 457. ipak bilo u prvoj, a on je rekao da je bilo u trećoj. Da.
Is it better now? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah. You know, I will not ask you to explain this on the exam.
Dakle, na ispitu nećete ni morati da objašnjavate ovo.
All I want you to know is that there is an independent way of arriving at the correct date for 1844.
Jedina poenta je da postoji nezavisan put od independent of
Karaites, yes.
Dakle, nezavisno od karaitskog kalendara postoji još jedan put da se ovdje.
Using the mathematical calculations from the Babylonian cycles.
Koristeći vavilonski matematički proračun.
And that this has been done by Shea in his last chapter of this book.
Poslednjem pogledu ove knjige to je urađeno.
Okay. Let's look at our handouts on the book of Revelation for a few moments.
Ajde sada da idemo u knjigu Otkrivenja pa da pogledamo na papiru.
If my colleague Dr. Pauline were here, he would give a 3-hour lecture on this.
Pauline da je ovde, on bi imao 3 predavanja o ovome.
And I have written an article on this in the Darkom volumes.
Ja sam napisao jedan članak o ovome u Darkom seriji.
Volume 6 and chapter 5 of that volume.
To je volumen 6, a 5. poglavlje.
So if you wish to read more, but we don't have the time to give the details on this.
What's the title of that book?
It's called,
in series.
Yes, it's called Symposium on Revelation, Book 1.
Dakle, to je onaj simpozijum na otkrivenje, prvi deo koji je u Darkom seriji.
Chapter 5.
5. glava.
But I've summarized the basic points in these 3 charts of your handouts. Page 10, the first one.
Dakle, 10. stranica, suma, imate sažetak toga.
As we look at the book of Revelation, we find that Revelation is filled with sevens.
Kad pogledamo knjigu Otkrivenja, vidjet ćemo da je bukvalno ispunjena sedmicama, broj 7.
It should not then be surprising that the overall literary structure of the book of Revelation is connected with these sevens.
Ne bi trebalo da nas začudi da postoji struktura koja je organizovana oko broja 7 onda.
And we find 7 introductory sanctuary scenes in the book.
Tako da pronalazimo 7 scena u svetinji.
You can see them listed on the left column there in chart 1.
U tabeli oni su u levoj koloni.
First scene is the lampstands.
Svećnjak.
And then the second scene is in the throne room with the inauguration of Christ.
Sljedeća scena je inauguracija Hrista, u presto se vidi.
The third scene is the altar of incense.
Treća scena, kadioni oltar.
With the intercessory ministry of Christ.
Sa posredničkom službom Hristovom.
Fourth scene, the inner sanctuary is opened and the ark is seen.
Četvrta scena, kovčeg zaveta se vidi.
And then in the fifth section, the sanctuary is closed up.
A u 5. sceni zatvara se svetinja.
Close of probation, basically. filled with smoke. No one can enter.
Ne može niko da uđe, ispunjena dimom. To je kraj vremena milosti.
And Dr. Pauline likes to call this the de-inauguration of the sanctuary.
Paulin to naziva deinauguracija.
And then the sixth scene
I šesta
is not
scena.
actually a scene. You don't see the sanctuary. You just hear the sounds from the sanctuary.
Vi u stvari u šestoj sceni ne vidite svetinju, ali čujete zvuk pesme iz
The
svetinje.
beings which earlier chapters told you are in the sanctuary are now singing doxology.
Biće za koje su vam ranije glave rekle da su u svetinji sada pevaju doksologiju.
And then finally, the tabernacle of God is with men.
I
in the
sedma
last
scena,
scene.
šator Božji je s ljudima.
And you notice after each one of these sanctuary scenes, there is a series of 7.
Za svaki od ovih scena imamo i seriju sedmica.
After the lampstands, there's the 7 churches.
Za svećnjak 7 crkava.
After the inauguration at the throne, there are the 7 seals.
Za inauguraciju 7 pečeta.
After the altar of incense scene, there are the 7 trumpets.
Za kadnjeni oltar 7 truba.
After the Ark of the Covenant is seen, there are these 7 great controversy scenes.
Za kovčeg zaveta 7 scena velike borbe.
Now, this one does not specifically say 7,
Ovaj ne govori specifično 7,
but 7, it's divided by this phrase, and I saw.
ali 7 je podeljeno sa ovom frazom i videh.
This phrase divides it into 7 sections.
Ta fraza deli ovaj deo u 7 sekcija posebno.
And then there is after the de-inauguration, there are the 7 plagues.
A posle dinauguracije dolaze 7 posljednjih zala.
Then after the doxology, there are these 7 scenes in the wind-up of the cosmic conflict.
A posle doksologije postoji 7 završnih scena velike borbe.
And again, these are divided by Kai Adon, and I saw.
I opet, i ove su podeljene sa Kai Eidon i videh.
7 scenes, each one starting with Kai
7
Adon.
scena počinju Kai Eidon, videh.
And then finally the tabernacles scene
I onda konačno
and the description of the New Jerusalem.
Novi Jerusalim i svetinja.
So this is the basic macro structure of the book of Revelation.
Ovo je osnovna makrostruktura knjige Otkrivenja.
And both John Pauline and I are convinced that once you understand this sanctuary macro structure, you have the key to unlocking the basic interpretation of the book.
I Paulin i ja se slažemo da kad jednom shvatite ovu makrostrukturu, imate ključ za interpretaciju Otkrivenja.
So turn to page 11 to chart 2 and let's look at this basic flow of the book of Revelation.
Da pogledamo ovaj put knjige Otkrivenja.
And we see this flow in the 7 sanctuary scenes.
A ovaj tok se vidi u 7 scena u svetinji.
The first one is the candelabra, the 7 candlesticks.
Prvi je svećnjak.
And at first glance you might say, well, this is happening in heaven.
Na prvi pogled vi kažete, pa to se dešava na nebu.
But where are the 7 candlesticks?
Ali gde je taj svećnjak?
What do they represent?
Šta predstavlja?
The churches, right? The 7 churches.
7 crkava.
And so these are not in heaven, these are on earth.
Su na nebu, nisu na zemlji.
So the first scene is on earth, focusing upon the
Pardon,
earthly
one su na
work of
zemlji,
Christ.
nisu na nebu. Vezane su za delo Hristovo.
Then in chapter 4, verse 1, John hears a voice saying, come up here.
A u 4. glavi 1. stihu Jovan čuje glas, dođi gore, popni se gore.
Now we're in the heavenly sanctuary.
Sad smo u nebeskoj sveti.
And here he sees the inauguration of Christ as king.
A tu vidi inauguraciju Hrista kao cara.
And the vision in chapter 4 and 5 mixes the imagery of both the holy place and the most holy place. He sees all of that.
Tako da on vidi u stvari mešavinu scena u svetinji nad svetinjama.
And as we've already seen at the inauguration service, not only the holy place, but the most holy place is inaugurated.
U inauguraciji, dakle, ne samo svetinja, nego i svetinja nad svetinjama je pomazana bila.
The next scene is the third one in chapter 8.
3. u 8. glavi.
And here we have a picture of Christ's intercessory ministry at the altar of incense.
Slika posredovanja Hristovog pred kadivnim oltarom.
So do you see how we're following the flow of salvation history here?
Vidite li kako se prikazuje tok istorije spasenja ovdje?
From the earthly work of Christ on earth
Od njegovog dela Hristovog na zemlji,
to his inauguration,
prema inauguraciji,
to his intercessory holy place ministry,
prema prvo svešteničkoj službi, posredničkoj,
and then when we come to 11:19, we move into the most holy place.
a 11:19 ulazimo u svetinju nad svetinjama.
And we find the first introduction of the concept of judgment.
A to je prvi uvod u sud.
And 11:19 all the way down to chapter 15 is this description of judgment.
A sve do 19. glave je opis tog suda od 11. do 19. glave.
The fifth scene in chapter 15 has the cessation, the stopping, the ceasing of the heavenly sanctuary ministry.
5. tačka je prestanak službe u svetinji.
No more mediation in the sanctuary.
Nema više posredovanja u svetinji.
Here is the close of probation.
Stvaranje vremena milosti.
Then the sixth scene is this doxology in heaven.
A 6. je doksologija na nebu.
And what are they praising God for?
Zašta oni slave Boga?
Because God has judged righteously.
Je Bog sudio.
Still in heaven.
Još uvijek na nebu.
But now the final scene brings us back down to earth.
Ali konačna scena nas dovodi na zemlju.
And the description of the new earth, the tabernacle of God with men.
A to je opis nove zemlje. Šator Božji je s ljudima.
Now, of course, within each of these series of 7 that follow these sanctuary scenes,
Svaki od ovih scena koja slede scenu u svetinji,
we have a move through history, and then it ends with a spotlight on last day events.
imamo tok kroz istoriju. Onda imamo, dakle, na posljednjim događajima jedan poseban fokus.
So not only do we have a linear flow through salvation history, as in the sanctuary scenes that we've looked at here on chart 2,
Dakle, imamo ne samo liniju scena u svetinji,
but we also have a picture of these series of 7s recapitulating as they move through the book.
nego imamo te sedmice ponavljane u knjizi. Znači, više tih sedmica.
But in this class, we're not going into the microstructure of the book of Revelation.
Ne idemo u mikrostrukturu na ovom predmetu,
We're just looking at this broad picture.
nego ovu širu sliku samo posmatramo.
There is a Jewish tractate called the Talmud, tractate of the Mishnah.
Postoji deo Mišne koji se zove Tamid,
Which means daily,
znači svagdašnja,
or what happens day by day through the
ili
year.
ono što se dešava iz dana u dan.
And in this article, I'm not going to take time to lecture on this, but in this article, I point out the different events that happen every morning in the temple
Postoje
in Jerusalem at the time of Jesus.
različiti događaji, dakle, koji se događaju u toku jutra.
And we find the exact same order in the first half of the book of Revelation.
Isti je poredak kao u prvoj polovini knjige Otkrivenja.
So that the first half of Revelation up to 11:19 is clearly the daily ministry of Christ, the Tamid ministry.
Tako da je dnevna služba prvi deo Otkrivenja, dakle prva polovina.
And I invite you to read the details in this article if you want to study that further.
Za one koji dalje hoće proučavati, ima članak o tome.
Also in this article I have shown that, and Dr. Pauline also has an article which shows the same thing. We have worked together on this.
Pauline ima isto članak koji zajedno smo sad radili na ovom projektu.
That when one moves through these 7 sanctuary scenes, one moves through the basic festivals of Israel.
Dok se krećete kroz 7 scena u svetinju stvari i kroz praznike se krećete jevrejski u otkrivenju.
That here in this first scene in chapter 1 of Revelation,
Tako da u ovoj prvoj
that we have the strong concentration upon language of Jesus' death and resurrection,
dakle imamo jak naglasak na smrti i vaskrsenju Hristovom.
where he says, I am he who was dead and am now alive.
Ja sam bio mrtav i evo živeh, sad sam
Here's
živ.
Passover language.
Tu imamo pashalni jezik.
The death and resurrection of Jesus which took place at Passover time.
Smrt i vaskrsenje, dakle Isusovo.
In chapters 4 and 5, we have the inauguration of Christ.
Dakle, u 4. i 5. glavi imamo inauguraciju Hrista.
And when was Christ inaugurated? Do you remember what
A
we
kad je
discussed?
Hristos inaugurisan? Da li se sećate?
At Pentecost, right?
Na Pedesetnici.
This is the outpouring of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost was the earthly sign that Christ has been inaugurated. In the
To je
Holy
Duh
Sanctuary.
Sveti, dakle, izlivanje Duha Svetog je bio samo zemaljski znak njegove inauguracije u nebeskoj sveti.
And so here is the Pentecost festival.
To je, dakle, Pedesetnica.
It's interesting that we have a record of what scriptures the Jews read in the first century for each of these festivals. What specific scriptures?
Koja pisma, da li znate, su čitali Jevreji na ove praznike, specifične knjige
And
biblijske?
the scripture they read for Pentecost was Ezekiel chapter 1.
Jezekilj 1 se čitao na Pedesetnicu.
This was the scripture from the prophets that they read.
To je iz proroka čitano.
And do you remember what Ezekiel 1 describes?
A o čemu Jezekilj 1 govori?
The four living creatures.
4 živa bića,
And so
životinje.
here in Revelation 4, we have a description of the four living creatures.
Imamo 4 životinje, opisu otkrivenja.
So there's a link back with the Pentecost for the scriptures that were read at Pentecost.
Tako imamo dokaz veze sa pismima koje su čitane.
And then in 11:19,
Just one
Yes.
point.
Yes.
It's interesting in Revelation 4 and 5, the Spirit is mentioned.
that's true. Yes, an emphasis upon the
Yes,
seven
the seven
spirits.
spirits. Yeah.
That's true. That's a parallel I don't think I marked in my chapter. I must revise that. So,
Dakle, rekoh, u 4. i 5. glavi otkrivenja spominje se duh, 7 duhova. Dakle, ima veze sa Pedesetnicom.
that's good. So, as the chapter 1 emphasizes his death and resurrection, chapters 4 and 5 emphasize the Spirit.
Yes.
That's
Dakle,
good.
smrt i vaskrsenje, u 4. i 5. glavi imamo duha.
Okay, then in chapter 8 we have the Feast of Trumpets that is introduced.
U 8. glavi od 2. do 6. stiha imamo praznik truba.
And right immediately after this scene in chapter 8 are the seven trumpets that are described.
A odmah posle toga 7 truba.
Then in 11:19 we have an introduction to we move into the most holy place.
Dakle, u 11.19 mi odlazimo u svetinju nad svetinjama.
Here's the start of Yom Kippur.
To je Jom Kipur.
And you have the investigative judgment that's described in these chapters, especially chapter 14.
I imate istražni sud, naročito u 14. glavi.
And also, well, especially chapter 14. Then when we come to chapter 15,
15. glava,
the sanctuary is closed up,
zatvorena je svetinja,
the intercessory ministry ceases,
posrednička služba se prestaje
and the seven last plagues are poured out.
i izlivaju se 7 posljednjih zala.
Here is the executive judgment, if you please.
To je sada izvršni sud.
And then in chapter 19,
A u 19. glavi
we have the introduction again of this doxology,
to je doksologija, uvod,
which is followed by chapter 20, the millennium.
a onda imate i milenijum u tom delu.
And here's the millennial judgment and the white throne judgment.
To je veliki beli prestoj i milenijumski sud.
And finally, sin is over, the camp is clean,
I kada je greh završen, očišćen je kamp
and the eternal Feast of Tabernacles can begin.
i večni praznik Senica počinje.
So that in a 3-hour lecture in 10 minutes is the structure of the book of Revelation,
Tako
the
da ste
sanctuary structure of the book
za
of
10
Revelation.
minuta dobili predavanje od 3 sata To je to, struktura svetinje otkrivenja.
Any specific questions that you have about what
Da li
I've
sad
said?
imate neka pitanja u vezi s ovim?
Milenijumski sud, gdje je spomenut u ovom 19. poglavlju?
Where is millennial judgment?
Yeah, that's the review, judgment, the review.
To je ovaj pregled, sud. Dakle, jednostavno,
Chapter 20.
rekapitulacija, pregled
It
suda.
follows right after 19.
Odmah
and comes
posle
the
19. između.
millennial judgment.
A to je u suštini 20.
To je deo 6. scene, ne 7. That's the part of the 6th scene, right?
That's part of the sixth scene.
6th festival. Ja,
Yes.
Da, to je 6. praznik.
Okay?
Samo i u 20. poglavlju.
Da.
Yes, question in the back.
I have members in a district who put 7 trumpets on the same level as 7 seals.
As going through history? Is that what you mean?
Istorijski, da li? je? To je isto za njih, 7 So that's basically the same. 7 trumpets and 7 seals.
Yes, my view, the church has not taken an official stand on the trumpets yet. This should
Još
be
uvijek
aware
nema
of that.
crkvenog stava zvaničnog o trubama.
The Daniel and Revelation Committee did not write an article on the trumpets.
Danilo i otkrivenje Darkom nema o trubama, dakle,
There's
reči.
still discussion going on about the best interpretation of the trumpet.
Još uvijek postoji diskusija koja je vezana za to.
But Dr. Pauline has written his doctoral dissertation on the first 2 or 3 trumpets.
Ali Paulin je napisao doktorsku disertaciju na trube.
And I think he has given some good evidence that the trumpets follow the same sweep as the seals.
Trube, dakle, imaju isti poredak kao i pečati.
But from a different perspective.
Ali je druga perspektiva.
The seals have to do specifically with God's people,
Pečati imaju veze sa Božjim narodom,
where the trumpets are God's warning judgments upon the wicked.
a trube su Božje upozorenje suda nad bezbožnima.
So they're similar, like Daniel 2 and Daniel 7 and Daniel 8 are similar.
Slični su kao što su slični Danilo 2. glava 7. i 8.
Daniel 2 and 7 deal with the nations from a political perspective.
2. i 7. glava govore o narodima iz političke
And
perspektive,
Daniel 8 deals with the same period of time from a religious perspective.
a Danilo 8. religiozna perspektiva.
And so I personally see the same kind of parallel as in Daniel's parallel chapters, so I find these same parallels in between the seals and the trumpets.
Dakle, postoje paralele sa Danilom, otkrivenje i Danilo.
And some have argued that Revelation 4 and 5 is the Day of Atonement.
Postoji 4. i 5. glava gde neki kažu da je to dan pomirenja.
And so then they see the trumpets as still future after the Day of Atonement has started.
A onda kažu trube su još uvijek budućnost, nakon dana pomirenja.
But I'm not convinced Revelation 4 and 5 deal with the Day of Atonement.
Otkrivenja 4 i 5 za mene nisu dan pomirenja.
There's no language of judgment there.
Nema jezika suda tamo.
The picture is of inauguration, of enthronement of Christ.
Nego je jezik inauguracije ustoličenja Hrista.
And so it would only make sense that after Revelation 4 and 5 and the enthronement, that then the seals that come after that are in the history of the church.
Dakle, pečati nakon ustoličenja vezani su za istoriju crkve.
The seals aren't future, and the same with the trumpets. The trumpets are not future.
Pečati su budućnost, a i trube su budućnost.
I'm not sure that Uriah Smith exactly understood what the trumpets were.
Nisam siguran
Maybe
da
he
je,
took them too literalistically, the details.
nisam siguran da je Urija Smith pogodio ove trube jer je suviše doslovno to tumači.
Pauline argues that it's more in the realm of ideas and thoughts than the realm of specific details of these prophecies.
Paulin kaže da je to u više veze sa idejama nego sa direktnim ispunjenjem proročanstava tih.
But we need someone here to do their thesis, on the 7 trumpets and solve this for our church.
Ali neko
once
bi
and for all.
trebalo 7 truba da obradi odavde i da reši ovaj problem u crkvi.
There's one more. Let's see if I can find it here. One more thing I wanted to cover before our last lecture, but I may not have
Još
brought this.
jedna stvar pre posljednjeg predavanja. Dakle, još...
Any other questions on the book of Revelation?
Još neko pitanje kad je u pitanju knjiga Otkrivenja?
Just look one more minute if I find this. Here it is. Here it is, okay. Just a brief description of the theology of judgment in the Bible.
Samo kratko o sudu u Bibliji uopšte.
Because I believe sometimes we talk about the investigative judgment and we don't put it in its broader context.
Nekad učimo o istražnom sudu, a ne stavljamo to u širi kontekst.
And I would like to argue that there are actually seven, but let's say 6 for now, 6 judgments in the Bible, 6 different judgments.
Čini mi se da ima 6, možda 7, ali za sad 6 sudova u Bibliji.
The first one, the foundational judgment, is the judgment that takes place at the cross.
Prvi, osnovni je onaj koji se odvio na krstu.
John 12:31.
Jovan 12:31.
Jesus says, "Now is the hour of judgment come."
Sad je sud ovom svetu, kazao Isus.
And at the cross, Jesus bore the penalty for all of our sins and was judged for us there.
Na krstu Isusu je suđeno, nas radi naših greha radi.
Here is the foundation of all the other judgments.
Tu je temelj svih drugih sudova.
We deserve the covenant curses that were described here in this covenant lawsuit.
Postoji zavetno prokletstvo, dakle zbog čega je...
But Jesus took the covenant curses that we deserved.
Ali Isus preuzeo zavetno prokletstvo za nas.
And he offers to give us the covenant blessings.
I otvorio put za zavetne blagoslove, nudi nam.
And all the other judgments flow from this basic judgment at the cross.
Svi drugi sudovi u stvari jednostavno proističu iz ovog osnovnog na krstu.
The second phase of judgment is with the preaching of the gospel.
Druga faza suda je propovedanje evanđelja.
You find this in John chapter 3,
To je u Jovanu 3. glavi,
verses 18 and 19,
18 i 19.
and John 9, verse 39.
I Jovan 9:39.
Jesus indicates here that whenever the gospel is proclaimed,
Kad god se propoveda evanđelje, kaže Isus,
it brings about a judgment of that person
sud je u pitanju nad tom osobom.
as they either decide to accept it or as they decide to reject it.
Jer odluka je o prihvatanju ili odbijanju.
You have those texts, John 3, 18 and 19, and John 9, 39.
Imate Jovan 3 i the second one?
3, 18 and 19, and 9, 39.
Dakle, 9:30, to smo već spomenuli te tekste.
So this is the existential judgment, if you please.
To je sud na egzistencijalnom nivou, egzistencijalni sud.
The third phase of judgment is the investigative judgment.
Treća faza suda je istražni sud.
Here is the final judgment to reveal to the universe who are God's people and who are not his people.
To je konačni sud za svemir. Ko je Božji narod, a ko nije.
The decision has already been made.
Ali odluka je već donesena.
And God already knows who are his and who are not.
I Bog već zna ko su njegove, a ko
But
nisu.
God is a fair and righteous judge who reveals the evidence to the onlooking universe.
Ali Bog je dovoljno korektan sudija da otkriva i svemiru.
And he shows that he is just even while he justifies the repentant sinner.
I pokazuje da je pravedan čak i kad opravdava grešnika.
And then the fifth, what are we having fifth? Yes, the fourth
Četvrta sad
phase
faza
is in connection with the second coming of Christ.
je u vezi s drugim Hristovim dolaskom.
Revelation 15, the 7 last plagues are judgment plagues.
Posljednja, 7 posljednjih zalasi je sud.
And they culminate in the second coming of Christ in which the wicked are killed.
Drugi Hristov dolazak je kulminacija kada su bezbožnici uništeni.
Here's the second coming judgment, if you please.
To je sud drugog dolaska.
Then we find the fifth judgment
Peti aspekt suda
is the millennial judgment.
je milenijumski sud.
Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4.
24 otkrivenje.
For whose benefit is the millennial judgment?
U čiju korist je ovaj milenijumski sud?
For us, that's
To je
right.
za nas, opet.
Why is my next door neighbor there in heaven that was the most horrible person I can ever imagine? And here he is, my next door neighbor in heaven.
Moj komšija je najgora osoba na svijetu koju mogu zamisliti, a evo ovdje sa mnom je na nebu. To je pitanje, zašto je to?
He seemed so horrible. Why would God save him?
To je strašno da je Bog uopšte njega spasao.
And my best friend that seemed so good, and why is he not here?
A moj najbolji prijatelj, tako je bio dobar, nema ga tu.
These kinds of questions will be
To će
raised.
pitanja će biti.
And God will want to give us 1,000 years to look over all the evidence
A Bog će nam dati 1000 godina za dokaze.
so that it will be very clear to us that everyone that is possible to save, he has saved.
Svako koga je mogao da spasi, da je spasao, on hoće da dokaže.
And so there will be surprises there.
Biće iznenađenja.
But everything will be clear and we will be satisfied that God was fully just and righteous in his decision.
Ali će biti sve jasno, jer će Bog se pokazati apsolutno pravednim.
A zar to nije malo opravdanje Boga sad pred svemirom? Taj sud.
Is that millennial judgment justification of God before the universe?
I think the investigative judgment is the justification of God,
Istražni sud je opravdanje Boga.
because they are the jury, as it were. They
Oni
are
su
the
porota.
witnesses.
Oni su svedoci.
And he is revealing this evidence before the heavenly courtroom to the entire
A on
universe.
pred sudnicom otkriva dokaze.
But this will justify God to us who are down here on earth.
Ali ovo će opravdati Boga u nama koji budemo na zemlji živeli.
Every one of these judgments is about the vindication of God. You're right.
Svaki je odbrana Boga, ako hoćete, od ovih sudova.
The cross vindicates God's ability to save us even when we're sinners.
Krst opravdava Boga u smislu da je sposoban da nas spase čak i ako smo grešnici.
And we can say that each step is another aspect of God's vindication,
I svaki sljedeći korak isto odbrana Boga.
including the final one, number 6,
Uključujući i konačni sud.
the final great white throne judgment, the executive judgment,
Izvršni sud, veliki beli presto.
which shows that God is just while he is executing the wicked.
Koji pokazuje da je Bog pravedan i jako uništava grešnika, bezbožnika.
And he will give the punishment which is just, that fits the crime.
I on će, dakle, kazniti ono što odgovara
And
zločinu.
before this judgment, he will even vindicate his character before those who are lost.
A pre ovog suda on će čak svoj karakter odbraniti i pred izgubljenima.
And Ellen White describes this picture of the law which appears there in the sky.
I Ellen White opisuje taj zakon koji se pojavljuje na nebesima,
And everyone has a video of their life that goes before them quickly.
a svako brzo gleda video svog života.
And even Satan will admit that God is just.
Čak i Sotona morat će priznati da je Bog pravedan.
Only for a short time,
Vrlo kratko,
before his pride again causes him to want to try to destroy the righteous.
pre nego što ga ponos uvede u samo uništenje i da uništi bezbožnika.
But every knee will bow and declare that God is just.
Ali svako koleno će se pokloniti i reći da je Bog pravedan.
Yeah.
Can we defend his point of view from the Bible, or that she got from the vision, and we cannot defend for the Bible?
I'm not sure that we can describe the details of the vision, but certainly Revelation 20, the last part of Revelation 20 describes the white throne judgment. Yes.
Veliki beli presto je opisan u Otkrivenju 20. To je zasigurno.
Yeah. So the essential contours are there, but not the details.
Konture su tamo, detalje nemamo.
So as you preach the judgment, preach the full picture of the judgment.
I kad propovedate sud, propovedate celu sliku suda, celokupnu
Now you
sliku
know I
suda.
can't leave it with the number 6. There has to be 7, right?
Ja ne mogu da vas ostavim sa 6, mora biti 7.
And so what's the 7th judgment?
Koji je 7. sud? A the 6th one, they say? Where is the 6th one?
I gave the 6th one. That is the
Dao
executive.
sam. To je izvršni sud. To je izvršni, da.
The 7th one, I would say, are all of the Old Testament microcosmic judgments that point forward to the one that's coming.
7. bi bio svi ti mikrosudovi iz Starog Zaveta koji su ukazivali na završni sud.
So these are the preview of the judgments.
To bi bili prethodni sudovi ili da, prethodni sud.
Yeah.
Mikrosud, mali sud. Na završni sud.
All right. Any other questions?
Pitanje?
Let me just say one little bit about Daniel chapter 12.
Ja bih Danilo 12 još samo da spomenem jednu stvar.
Because I understand that here in your country there are those who are claiming that they can set the exact date for Christ's coming.
Jer u Danilu 12 ima nekih kod nas koji hoće da postave datum drugog Hristovog dolaska.
Yes. Yeah. And just a few things about this.
Samo nekoliko stvari vezane za ovo.
First, let me give you a source where you can go for some very good help on Daniel 12.
Jedan dobar izvor za Danila 12.
I had thought maybe to lecture on it here in class, but it would take us another hour to lecture on this.
Mislio sam da predajem to, ali to bi nas odvelo još 1 sat predavanja.
And you can guess who has written on this.
Pogodite ko je napisao nešto tamo.
William Shea, yes. And this is in his commentary, the Bible Amplifier commentary.
A to je u stvari u njegovom komentaru, u biblijskom priručnom Amplifier komentaru.
You have that.
Imate to.
I think it's photocopied. You
Je
showed me, right?
Kopiran,
You
pokazuje
have
gore.
both volumes. Don't you have both volumes?
First to 7,
Only the first?
od 1. do 7. dela imamo. Kopira, onda
Daću ti ja drugi. Imam i ja, ali ima i u biblioteci isto.
Do you have the one on 8 to 12?
only first to 7.
Only the... You have this?
Da, yes, I
So
have.
my assignment to my translator is to let them photocopy that second volume here
Yes,
so that they can
yes.
have access to this. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Mogu samo osnovnu problematiku da kažem zašto oni tumače to, pa da može profesor objasniti.
He wants to explain in a basics why they teach this kind of
Of approach?
approach, yes.
Yes, that's what I will do. Yeah.
Tih 1260 dana oni ne smatraju kao onih iz Danila ranije, zato što kažu da kontekst 12. pogleda govori o kraju, o eskatologiji.
They say that these 1260 days are not connected to Daniel 12 because Daniel 12 is speaking about the end time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, several points in answer to that question.
Nekoliko tačaka kao odgovor na ovo pitanje.
What needs to be understood is the literary function of Daniel 12.
Treba shvatiti koja je uloga, svrha Danila 12.
This is an epilogue
To je epilog
to the book,
knjizi.
and it is linked with Daniel 11. Daniel 11 and Daniel 12 are the explanation to the vision in Daniel 8.
Iz Danila 8 postoji objašnjenje vizije, a to je zapisano u 11. i 12. glavi.
And the language of Daniel 12 clearly echoes back to Daniel 8.
A Danilo 12 jasno ukazuje na jezik Danila 8.
The angel asks here in verse 6,
U 6. stihu anđeo pita
how long will be the fulfillment of these wonders?
kad će biti kraj tim čudesima.
In other words, how long will it be till we go to the time of the end?
Kad će biti kraj, dakle, vreme kraja.
He's referring back to verse 4.
4. stih isto.
Seal the book until the time of the end.
Zapečati ovu knjigu do posljednjeg vremena, vremena kraja.
Then the angel asks, well, how long will it be till the time of the end?
A onda anđeo pita, pa kad će biti kraj?
And in verse 7, the answer comes.
I u 7. stihu dođe odgovor.
This angel lifts his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and he swears by him who lives forever.
Tako da anđeo podiže desnu svoju levicu svoju k nebu i zakle se onim koji živi uvek.
That it shall be a time, time, and half a time.
Da će se ovo ispuniti po vremenu, po vremenima i po povremenu.
And then the power of the holy people, which has been shattered, when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, all these things will be finished.
I kad se svrši rasap sile svetoga naroda.
Here is an allusion back to Daniel 7.
To je Danilo 7, aluzija.
This period of time, time, and half a time in which the people of God were shattered, were worn out.
Vremenima i po vremenima kad će se vršiti rat nad svetim narodom, dakle, je Danilo 7. Aluzija
So
na
the
Danilo 7.
context is clearly echoing back to Daniel 7 and not pointing to the future.
Eho je dakle iz Danila 7 i ne ukazuje na budućnost.
And we figure the time, time, and half a time from 538 to 1798.
Tako da smo imali 538. do 1798. to vreme.
But then it comes these two additional prophecies at the end.
Ali onda su tu dva dodatna proroštva na kraju.
It mentions in verse 11,
U 11. stihu se spominje.
from the time that the daily is taken away.
A od vremena kad se ukine vazdašnja.
Now again, this is not adding something new
To ni
to
ništa
Daniel.
novo.
This is echoing back to Daniel 8.
Eho Danila 8.
That's right. Daniel 8 and verse 10, verse 11,
Danilo
the
8,
daily
11.
was taken away. So it's simply saying
uzima
from
se
the time
svagdašnje.
when the daily was taken away
Ovdje jednostavno kaže, a od vremena kad se uzme ta svagdašnja,
will be 1,290 days.
bit će 1290 dana.
Why do I know that's not literal days?
Zašto znam da ovo nisu doslovni dani?
It's not the way you calculate days, it's not the way you say days in Hebrew.
U jevrejskom se ne kaže tako dani. Taj izraz
It
se ne
would be
koristi.
so many years, so many months, so many days. If it
Nego
would
bi
be literal.
koristio izraz toliko godina, toliko meseci, toliko dana.
It's carrying us back to Daniel 8. And when was that daily taken away?
Vraća nas u Danilo 8 kad je svagdašnja bila oduzeta.
And Dr. Shea is very helpful here in illuminating this.
A Še nam pomaže u tome što 503. 508.
He shows there were two stages in the taking away of the daily.
Postoje dve faze u uzimanju svagdašnje ili ukidanju svagdašnje.
What is the daily? We've talked about the daily.
Šta je
What is
svagdašnja?
this? The Tamid.
Tamid?
It is the sanctuary intercessory ministry of the priest in the sanctuary.
To je posrednička služba sveštenika u svetinji.
So this is Christ's intercessory ministry in the heavenly sanctuary, in the antitype.
To je Hristova posrednička služba. Dakle.
When would that be taken away?
Kada će ona biti oduzeta?
If someone on earth puts themselves in place of Christ as the intercessor.
Kada neko na zemlji umjesto Hrista.
And when did that happen?
Kad se to dogodilo?
There was first a decree
Postoje dekret prvo.
in 503
503.
in which the Roman Synod first called the Bishop of Rome vicarious filii Dei.
Dakle, kada je rimski sinod po prvi put rimskog biskupa nazvao vicaris filii Dei.
They say the Roman bishop is the intercessor between us and God.
Rimski biskup u stvari su rekli, time su htjeli da kažu u stvari da je rimski biskup posrednik između nas i Boga.
And this is the same time the abomination is set up, the abomination that causes desolation.
A to je isto vreme kada se postavlja gnusova
The
pustoš.
abomination is a false system of the Talmud, a false gospel.
Jer gnusoba je lažno evanđelje, lažni tamid.
So the decree goes forth in 503.
Dekret je izdat 503.
The Pope is vicar of the Son of God.
Papa je postao vikar Sina Božja.
508, the military effectuation of that takes place.
A 508 se vojno obezbeđuje
Which in
ta
which
realnost.
the first Aryan horn was uprooted, the Visigoths.
Tada je prvi arijanski rog porobljen, Vizigoti.
Clovis was converted. The king of France was converted to Christianity.
A Klodovik, prvi franački kralj, je bio obraćen u
And he
hrišćanstvo.
puts the first crown on the Bishop of Rome.
I prva kruna je postavljena,
He now gives him the power to make effective this decree.
dao mu je na neki način vlast rimskom biskupu da može taj dekret da sprovede u delo.
So if you have 503 as the time the daily was taken away,
Ako 503. u stvari uzmete da je oduzeta svagdašnja,
you go down 1290 years.
odemo 1290 godina unapred,
I'm sorry, 503, but it became effective in 508.
508. u stvari je ta godina.
The date. We come down here, 1290 years, you come to 1793 and 1798.
To su godine do kojih dolazimo.
What happened in 1793?
Šta se desilo 1793.
The French National Convention said France is not Christian anymore.
Nacionalna konvencija Francuske je rekla Francuska bi trebala da odbaci hrišćanstvo.
And in 1798, this was the decree.
To je bio dekret.
And in 1798, this became effective as the Pope was removed
A papa je sklonjen,
and banished
proteran,
the land of France.
dakle, iz Francuske na neki način, sa
So
prestola.
we have these two stages, the decree and then the military affectation.
Dve faze su ovaj dekret i vojna efektiva, znači
1260 years takes us here to 533 and 538. This is the set 1260.
dakle 1260 godina je onda od 533. pa do dole.
And in 533, Justinian, the Emperor Justinian, declares that the
Justinijan je
bishop
533.
declares that the Bishop of Rome.
She's asking about the dates, but you're explaining it.
Yes.
So it's-
Justinian.
Justinijan,
gives a decree.
dekret, 533. je dekret izdat.
I'm simply arguing that there's a pattern here that works through all three of these.
Ono što je zanimljivo ovdje je da postoji model u sva tri događaja.
An earlier decree that then becomes finally effective by a military action.
Prethodni dekret koji postaje delotvoran vojnom akcijom.
So in 533, you have Justinian giving the decree.
Justinijan 533. daje
And
dekret.
he declares that the Bishop of Rome is the head of the churches.
Kaže da je biskup rimski glava svim crkvama.
This is the time when the saints are given into the hand of the Pope.
Tada su sveci dati u ruke.
That's described in
Papi.
Daniel chapter 7.
To je opisano u Danilu 7.
And when does this become effective?
A kad je postalo delotvorno?
When the third, in 538, when the third of the three horns, the Ostrogoths, are taken away,
Kada su 3 roga iščupana, pobeđena,
and the military power gives the Pope absolute control now, absolute power
a
without
sad
any resistance.
ima apsolutnu kontrolu papa.
And that's what Daniel 7 describes, is that the saints will be given into his hand for 1260 days.
To Danilo 7 kaže da će u ruke rogu biti predati sveci.
So we have the 1260, we have the 1290,
Imamo 1260, 1290,
and immediately after describing the 1290, in verse 12 it describes the 1335.
i odmah posle 1290 opisuje 1335.
It doesn't say when it begins.
To je glavni problem kao 508 plus 335 i 353, a ne 5.
Oh, the main problem for this group is that 508 plus 1335 is 1843.
Okay, we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
Evo sad dolazimo do ovoga.
So then, from 503, you have the 508, you have 1335,
1335,
from 457 here,
457,
2300 days,
2300 je ovde,
which takes you down to the year 1844.
dolazi do 1844.
Here down to the year 1843-44.
A tu dolazimo do 43-44.
In biblical calculation, it's not just from January to December, but it covers these 2 years.
U biblijskom
1843,
računanju
1844.
vremena nemamo samo od januara do decembra, nego obe godine su uključene.
If God had given 1336 years,
Da je Bog dao 1336,
it would have taken you too far. It would have taken you into 1845.
to bi vas vodilo mnogo dalje, u 1845 onda.
And so he gives the closest year that will take you, including 1844.
On vam je dao godinu najbližu, dakle, onom što...
And Shea explains this in his commentary in more detail.
Še je to mnogo detaljnije objasnio.
So I see that the prophecies fit here very nicely together.
Dakle, ovde proroštvo se uklapa, dakle.
And why do I not go for a future interpretation?
A zašto ne volim futurizam?
I've already given you 3 reasons.
3 razloga sam već dao.
The context of Daniel 12 points back to Daniel 7 and Daniel 8, not forward.
Kontekst Danila 12 ukazuje na prošlost, na Danila 7 i 8, ne napred.
The days are not literal time, not literal way of calculating time.
A dani nisu doslovni,
And so they must be taken as symbolic day for a year here.
tako da i tu simbolika dan za godinu.
And also, when one takes it this way, all the pieces fit together in a nice harmony.
I naravno sve se onda u mozaiku vidi lepo.
And one final reason, and this is the main reason for me.
Jedan konačni argument, razlog, a to je za mene i najvažniji.
Revelation 10.
Otkrivenje 10.
This is immediately after the 6th seal.
To je posle
After the sixth trumpet, excuse me,
šeste
sixth
trube.
trumpet, which Ellen White described as but let's don't go into the 6 trumpets. That'll take too long. But let's go to verse 5, Revelation 10, verse 5.
5. stih 10. glave.
The angel whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land lifted up his hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever.
I anđeo kojega vide da stoji na moru i na zemlji, podiže ruku svoju k nebu i zakle se onim koji živi vavek veka.
Do you hear an echo to language you just read?
Čujete li eho na ono što smo već pročitali?
It's a quote from Revelation 12, Daniel 12.
To je Danilo 12, citat.
Except where the angel there says time, time, and half a time,
Tamo gde anđeo kaže vreme, vremena i
the
pol
angel
vremena,
here says there will be no more chronos.
da vremena neće biti, kaže u Otkrivenju 10. Hronos.
Which does not mean delay.
To ne znači, hronos ne znači
That's a possible, very
odlaganje.
rare possible meaning, but that's not the normal meaning for chronos.
To je odlaganje i jedno značenje veoma retko, ali to nije uobičajeno značenje za hronos.
This is where we get our word chronology.
Tu je hronologija od reči hronos.
It refers to time.
To je vreme.
And within the context of this quotation back to Daniel 12, where there was the reference to time,
Tako da kad se vratimo u Danila 12, pronalazimo referencu vremena,
to prophetic time,
proročkog vremena,
the angel says there will be no more prophetic time.
anđeo kaže nema više tog proročkog vremena.
And Ellen White is very clear on this, that there should be no more setting of time as a basis of our message after 1844.
I Ellen White jasno kaže, nema više posljednja vremena kad je u pitanju naša poruka posle 1844.
And those who try to set these dates are just basically ignoring or disregarding this counsel that God
I
has
oni
given
koji
us.
postavljaju datume jednostavno ignorišu ovaj savjet.
Oni kažu taj citat da to znači nema više proročkog vremena, nema više dan za godinu, onda koristite doslovno. Znači,
Kako to
kažu,
misliš?
nema više proročkog vremena.
Da?
Oni kažu da proročko vreme je dan za godinu u principu.
Da.
A kada nema proročkog vremena, i ono to kaže da je onda dan za dan. I
Oh, this is very interesting.
Svemu ispita to.
They say there's no more prophetic time, so there is no principal day for a year anymore, because there's no prophetic time.
Yeah, but see, they only take part of Ellen White's statement.
Ali oni uzimaju deo.
Ellen White also
Ono što
says
kaže Ellen White.
our message should never again be linked with time. She doesn't even say prophetic time.
Naša poruka neće biti vezana više za vreme.
Those
Ellen White ne kaže
statements
samo
are
proročko.
very, very clear.
To su jasne reči.
And I find here that this word chronos is just giving us time. It says chronos,
A
time.
ova reč hronos nam opisuje, daje nam vreme, dakle.
So both Revelation and Ellen White are not limiting it to prophetic time, but to all calculations of dates after 1844.
Otkrivenje, dakle, Ellen White ne govore samo o proročkom vremenu, nego govore da nema više određivanja datuma za išta, za bilo što.
So anyway, I do not take much time to deal with all of these theories, and people send me practically every month. I get another theory about when
Svakog meseca
the
dobijem neku
time
novu
will come for
teoriju.
this end of the world.
Kad će doći kraj sveta?
As soon as I see that they are calculating the time, I throw it in the trash
Čim vidim da računaju vreme, bacam u smeće.
because it is based upon a false premise.
Jer je sazdano na lažnoj pretpostavci.
Anyway. All right, I'm going to give you a 5-minute break today.
Daću vam 5 minuta pauze.
No prophetic time, because
Ne proročki.
I want to give this last hour, this last 50 minutes as a sermon.
Ja želim da vam sad i propovedam posljednji sat.
My answer to the so what question, why this
Moj
sanctuary doctrine.
odgovor zašto doktrina u svetinji.
So we will start again exactly at 12:11.
12 i 11 minuta počinjemo ponovo.